The blessed Lord said, "Fearlessness, purity of heart, perseverance and knowledge of union, charity and restraint and sacrifice, spiritual study, austerity, straightforwardness, non-violence, truth, no anger, renunciation, peace, no slander, compassion for creatures, no greed, kindness, modesty, no fickleness, vigor, patience, courage, purity, no hatred, and no excessive pride are the endowment of the one born to the divine, Bharata. Hypocrisy, arrogance, and conceit, anger and harshness, and ignorance are the endowment of the one born to the demonic, Partha. The divine endowment is for liberation, for bondage, the demonic, it is thought. Do not grieve. To the divine endowment you are born, son of Pandu. Two created beings are in this world, the divine and the demonic. The divine has been described in detail. Hear from me about the demonic, Partha. Progress and cessation demonic people do not understand. Neither purity, nor good conduct, nor truth is found in them. Untruthful, they are unstable. The universe, they say, is godless, not by a succession created. What else but desire caused it? Holding this view, lost souls of little intelligence and evil actions come forth as enemies for the destruction of the world. Attached to insatiable desire, accompanied by hypocrisy, arrogance, and lust, out of confusion accepting false notions, they proceed with impure purposes, and clinging to immeasurable anxiety ending in death, with gratification of desire their highest aim, convinced that this is all, bound by 100 expectations, devoted to desire and anger, they wish for the gratification of desires by the unjust means of hoards of wealth. This today was acquired by me, this wish I shall obtain, this is it, and this shall be my property also. That enemy was slain by me, and I shall kill others also. I am the Lord, I am the enjoyer, I am perfect, powerful, happy, I am wealthy, aristocratic. Who else is there like me? I shall sacrifice, give, be merry. Thus are those deluded by ignorance, led astray by more than one thought, wrapped in a net of delusion. Attached to the gratification of desires, they fall into an unclean hell. Conceited souls, stubborn, full of the pride and intoxication of wealth, they sacrifice in the name of sacrifices with hypocrisy, not in the sacred manner. Clinging to the ego, force, insolence, desire, and anger, the envious hate me in the soul of others' bodies. Those hating, cruel, vicious wretches I throw continually into the cycles of reincarnation in demonic wombs. Entering a demonic womb, the deluded in birth after birth, not attaining me, Kanteya, go then to the worst path. This threefold gate of hell is destructive of the soul, desire, anger, and greed. Therefore one should renounce this threesome. Released from these three dark gates, Kanteya, the best person practices for the soul, then goes to the supreme goal. Whoever, discarding scriptural knowledge, follows willful desire does not attain perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme goal. Therefore Scripture is your authority for determining what is to be done or not to be done. Knowing what is said in Scripture, you should do work here. Arjuna said, "Those who, discarding scriptural knowledge, sacrifice filled with faith, what is their position, Krishna? Is it goodness, emotion, or darkness?" The blessed Lord said, "Triple is the faith of the embodied. It is essentially goodness, emotion, and darkness. Thus hear of this. The faith of each becomes according to the form of goodness. This spirit is made of faith. Whoever has the faith which this is this. The good sacrifice to the gods, the emotional to spirits and demons, and others, the men of darkness, sacrifice to the dead and ghosts. People who undergo terrible austerities, not ordained by Scripture, joined with egotistical hypocrisy, along with desire, rage, and force, torturing the organs within the body, and unconscious of me inside within their body, know them to be demonic in their resolves. But food, also preferred by each, becomes triple, as sacrifice, austerity, and charity. Hear this distinction of these. Promoting life, goodness, strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction, flavorful, juicy, substantial, and hearty foods are liked by the good. Pungent, sour, salty, hot, spicy, dry, burnt foods are wanted by the emotional, causing pain, misery, and sickness. Spoiled, tasteless, putrid, stale, and what is rejected, as well as the unclean, is the food liked by the ignorant. Scripture-ordained sacrifice, which is offered by those not desiring the fruit, offering thus with the mind focused, this is good. But having in view the fruit and also hypocritical purpose, Bharata, know this sacrifice which is offered is emotional. Scripture discarded, food unoffered, sacred words discarded, no price paid, devoid of faith, they regard as ignorant sacrifice. Revering the divine, the twice-born, the teacher, the wise, purity, virtue, continence, and non-violence is called the austerity of the body. Non-disturbing speech, true, pleasant, beneficial, and which practices reciting sacred texts, is called speech-making austerity. Mental clarity, kindness, silence, self-control, purity of being, this is called mental austerity. This triple austerity, practiced with the highest faith by people united by not desiring fruit, they regard as good. And austerity which is done with hypocrisy for the sake of honor, respect, and reverence here on earth, this is said to be emotional, insecure, impermanent. Austerity which is done with torture of self, with a deluded notion, or for the purpose of destroying another, this is said to be dark. The gift which is given as being given to one who does no favor, at the proper place and time, and to a worthy person, this gift is considered good. But that which is given for the sake of reward, or again with a view to the fruit, or unwillingly, that gift is considered emotional. The gift which is given in the wrong place and time to the unworthy, disrespectfully, and with contempt, is said to be dark. Om Tat Sat is considered the triple symbol of God. By this the priests and the Vedas and the sacrifices were anciently ordained. Therefore acts of sacrifice, charity, and austerity always begin by uttering Om, as proclaimed in the precepts of the expounders of God. Saying Tat without interest in the fruit, acts of sacrifice, austerity, and various charities are done by those desirous of liberation. In meaning truth and in meaning goodness, this Sat is used. In praise, also in action, the sound Sat is used, Partha. In sacrifice, austerity, and charity, steadiness is also called Sat. An action related to this is likewise designated Sat. An offering given or an austerity practiced and done, which is without faith, is said to be false, Partha, and that is nothing to us here or hereafter. Arjuna said, Great armed one, I wish to know the truth of renunciation and of relinquishment, Rishikesha, individually, slayer of Kashan. The blessed Lord said, the renouncing of desired actions the sages know as renunciation. Relinquishment of the fruit of all action, the clear-sighted say, is relinquishment. Some thinkers say that action is to be relinquished as wrong, and others that action by sacrifice, charity, and austerity is not to be thus relinquished. Hear my conclusion in this matter of relinquishment, best Bharata. For relinquishment, Tiger Spirit, is described as threefold. Action by sacrifice, charity, and austerity is not to be relinquished. That sacrifice, charity, and austerity are the purifiers of the thinkers. But these actions are to be done relinquishing attachment and the fruits. This, Partha, is definitely my final opinion, for renunciation of required action is not proper. The confused relinquishing of this is declared dark. Whoever relinquishes action which is troublesome out of fear of physical suffering, doing emotional relinquishment, would not obtain the fruit of that relinquishment. Action which is to be done is done in a disciplined way, Arjuna, relinquishing attachment and the fruit. This relinquishment is thought of as good. Filled with goodness, intelligent, doubt eliminated, the relinquisher does not hate disagreeable action, nor is attached to the agreeable. For embodied beings cannot relinquish actions entirely. But whoever is a relinquisher of the fruit of action, this one is called thus a relinquisher. Triple is the fruit of action for the dying relinquishers, unwanted, wanted, and mixed. But for the renouncers there is none whatever. Great armed one, learn from me these 5 factors proclaimed in Sankhya doctrine for success in all actions. The basis, also the actor, and their instrument of various kinds, and many separate movements, and the divine as the 5th. Whatever action a person undertakes with body, speech, and mind, whether right or wrong, these are its 5 factors. But in this reality, whoever sees the soul as the only actor out of incomplete understanding, this fool does not see. The one whose condition is not egoistic, whose intuition is not affected, even though killing these people, this one does not kill and is not bound. Knowledge, the known, and the knower are the threefold action incentives. The instrument, the action, and the actor are the threefold constituents of action. Knowledge, action, and the actor are said to be threefold, determined by the qualities in the qualities doctrine. Hear about these also. Learn that good knowledge by which one sees in all creatures one imperishable essence undivided in the divided. But the knowledge which regards as separate the different beings of various kinds in all creatures, learn that knowledge is emotional. But that which is attached to one thing to be done as if it were all, without reason, without true purpose, and insignificant, is said to be dark. Action which is controlled, free of attachment, done without liking or disliking, wishing to obtain no fruit, that is called good. But action which is done wishing to obtain desire with self-interest, or again with much effort, that is said to be emotional. Action which is undertaken out of confusion, disregarding the consequence, loss, harm, and capability, that is called dark. Liberated from attachment, not egotistical, accompanied by courage and resolution, unperturbed in success or failure, the actor is called good. Passionate, wishing to obtain the fruit of action, greedy, violent-natured, impure, accompanied by joy and sorrow, the actor is proclaimed to be emotional. Undisciplined, vulgar, stubborn, deceitful, dishonest, lazy, depressed, and procrastinating, the actor is called dark. Hear the distinction of the intuition and the will according to the threefold qualities, explained completely and distinctly, wealth winner. Intuition which knows action and withdrawal, what is to be done and what is not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, bondage and liberation, this partha is good. Intuition which distinguishes incorrectly right and wrong, what is to be done and what is not to be done, this partha is emotional. Intuition which thinks wrong is right, covered by darkness and perverted in every aim, this partha is dark. The will by which one holds steady the mind, breath, and sense functions with unbroken union, this partha is good. But the will by which one holds to duty, desire, and wealth with firmness, Arjuna, with attachment to desired fruits, this partha is emotional. The will by which the stupid does not abandon sleep, fear, sorrow, depression, and pride, this partha is dark. But now hear from me, Bharata Bull, the threefold happiness one enjoys through practice and in which one comes to the end of suffering. That which in the beginning is like poison, but in maturity resembles nectar, that happiness is declared good, born from the clarity of soul intuition. That which in the beginning, from contact between sense objects and sense, resembles nectar, but in maturity is like poison, this happiness is considered emotional. And happiness which in the beginning and in consequence is confusing for the soul, arising from sleep, laziness, and negligence, that is said to be dark. There is nothing, either on earth or even in heaven among the gods, no being, which can be freed by these three qualities born of nature. The actions of the priests, rulers, merchants, and servants, foe scorcher, are distributed by the qualities arising from their nature. Calmness, control, austerity, purity, patience, and sincerity, knowledge, discernment, and piety are priestly action born of their essence. Valor, vigor, courage, skill in battle, and also not fleeing, charity, and leadership are the action born of the ruler essence. Cultivation, cowherding, and trade are the action born of the merchant essence. Service-type action is born of the servant essence. Satisfied in one's own repeated action, a person attains success. How one content in one's own action finds perfection, hear that. By worshipping with one's own action that from whom is the origin of all creatures, by whom all this is pervaded, a human finds perfection. Better one's own duty of less quality than another's duty well done. Performing action ordained by one's own essence, one does not incur guilt. One should not relinquish inborn action, Kaunteya, even though deficient, for all undertakings are veiled with deficiency, like fire with smoke. Unattached intuition everywhere, soul conquered, longing disappeared, actionless perfection, one goes by renunciation to the Supreme. Learn from me briefly, Kaunteya, how having attained perfection one also attains God, which is the highest state of knowledge. United with cleansed intuition, controlling the self with will, and relinquishing, starting with sound, sense objects, and rejecting passion and hatred, living isolated, eating lightly, controlling speech, body, and mind, constantly intent on union meditation, relying on detachment, releasing ego, force, pride, desire, anger, possessiveness. Unselfish, peaceful, one is fit for oneness with God. Becoming God, soul serene, one does not grieve nor desire. The same among all creatures, one attains supreme devotion to me. By devotion to me, one realizes who and what I am in truth. Then, knowing me in truth, one enters immediately. Performing all actions, always trusting in me, one attains by my grace the imperishable eternal home. Surrendering consciously all actions in me, intent on me, constantly be conscious of me, relying on intuitive union. Conscious of me, you will transcend all difficulties through my grace. But if through egotism you will not listen, you will perish. If, relying on egotism, you think, I will not fight, vain is this resolve. Your nature will compel you. Bound by your own essential karma, Kaunteya, what you do not wish to do out of confusion, you will perform that even against your will. The Lord stands in the heart region of all creatures, Arjuna, causing to move all creatures mounted mechanically by magic. Go to that shelter with your whole essence, Bharata. From that grace you will attain supreme peace and the eternal state. Thus knowledge more secret than the secret has been explained to you by me. Reflecting on this completely, do whatever you wish. Hear from me again the most secret supreme word. You are surely loved by me, therefore I shall speak for your benefit. Become mentally me, devoted to me, sacrificing to me. Revere me, and you will come to me truly. I promise you, you are my beloved. Giving up all duties, take shelter in me alone. I shall liberate you from all evils. Do not grieve. This is not to be told by you to one who neglects austerity, nor to one who neglects devotion, nor to one who does not want to listen, nor to one who speaks ill of me. Whoever shall explain this supreme secret to my devotees, performing the highest devotion to me, will come to me without doubt. And no one among humanity is pleasing me more than this one, and no other is more beloved by me on earth. And whoever shall study this sacred dialogue of us two, by this one with this knowledge, sacrifice I may be loved. Such is my thought. Also, whoever may hear with faith and not scoffing, this person, also liberated, should attain the happy worlds of pure actions. Had this been heard by you, Partha, with one pointed thought? Has it destroyed your ignorant delusion, wealth winner? Arjuna said, Delusion is lost, recognition gained. Through your grace by me, unchanging one, I stand with doubt dispelled, I shall do your word. Sanjaya said, Thus from Vasudeva and Partha, the great soul, I heard this marvelous dialogue, causing my hair to stand on end. Through the grace of Vyasa, I heard this secret supreme yoga from the Lord of Yoga, Krishna, speaking himself before my eyes. O King, remembering again and again this marvelous and holy dialogue of Keshava and Arjuna, I rejoice over and over. And remembering again and again that most marvelous form of Hari, my amazement is great, King, and I rejoice again and again. My thought is that wherever is the Lord of Yoga, Krishna, and wherever is Partha the archer, there is splendor, victory, well-being, and eternal wisdom.